Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be covering the way Tcgplayer grades cards and their conditions. They have a nice guideline on their website actually. To start out with, we have our near mint condition. This condition shows minimal damage and wear from shuffling and play of the card. Nearly unmarked surfaces, crisp corners, and unblemished edges, so no little like white specks or anything on the edging. And they're pretty much nearly unplayed with no major defects and flaws. There is an acceptable range, and then it changes for foiling. They can't have any scratches or clouding or print defects or visible damage or markings on the card that can be seen when you move it through the light or whatever. The next grade down would be lightly played. So their lightly played condition can have minor border or corner wear, just slight scuffs or scratches. There can't be any major damage, bends, or issues with the structural integrity of the card. Noticeable imperfections are okay, but none should be too severe or too high of a volume. For the lightly played foils, the scratching should be very slight and no major imperfections or flaws should exist. Scratches on the art box tend to be more noticeable factor than other flaws on the card. Light played conditions may also have slight fading or signs of wear or slight warping. Moderately played cards are, from what I've noticed, what most players' cards end up being. These can have border wear, corner wear, scratching or scuffing, some light creasing or whitening, or any combination of mild examples of marks on the card. A moderately played card, the creasing should not affect the integrity of the card, but not in combination with other issues such as scratching, scuffs, and border edge wear. The foiled cards for moderately played, a little flaking, some warping, clouding, and scratching are all fine on moderately played. And they're also allowed to have minor border wear on the card, like the little white chips you sometimes see on the corner of on the edging of a corner card where the black border has started to raise up some. But no major defects. Minor flaws are okay for moderately played foils. Heavily played cards, the condition shows a severe amount of wear. The cards have less than 30% of the surface being liquid damage are typically accepted, but may be considered damage if it's especially detrimental. Some examples of this would be like the cards are stuck to something, then get removed and pull away part of the card. along with major creasing, whitening, border wear, and if the cards are still can still be sleeved and playable that way. And the foils are going to follow the same standards as heavily played, but you also have to watch out for more scratching on the foiling on the card itself. Now for damaged, this one's actually pretty simple to explain. If there's any major creasing going across the card, tears, bends, anything that would make it non-tournament legal in play, even when it's within the sleeve. If there's more than 30% of liquid damage on the card, it is considered damage. Cards in damaged condition may have extreme border wear, extreme corner wear, heavy scratching or scuffing, folds, creases, tears, any sort of damage you can imagine can be imposed on a card. And no one really likes receiving cards covered in foreign substance like food, liquid, or other material. Cards like these would never be accepted by Tcgplayer, and I know I would never want to receive a card that has food on the card, and I'm sure most people feel the same way. I will do a follow-up video on like what PSA grading standards are if I can find those again. But there are some common things you want to look out for when you're determining the condition of your card. Like make sure the card is not a different version than what someone might be expecting. So the set, it needs to be paid attention to. Then there's common defects like miscut during printing, and other print errors and inconsistencies. And one other thing that a lot of people don't realize is even though you pull it straight out of the pack yourself, does not make the card near mint, because there can be an issue with the ink on the card, the foiling. There could be a factory defect like it was miscut, so instead of being perfectly centered, it could be off center, visibly noticeable. There could be other markings and damage on the card. The edges can get chipped during shipping if there's a lot of room for the cards to move around. In the packaging, I forget which master set it was. I think it was Masters 15. They sent the cards in a little cardboard box, and during shipping, they just all moved around, and cards were coming out damaged left and right, and they just really, it wasn't smart packaging in the end. So those are different things that you have to look out for also when you're figuring out the conditions of the cards. But this is just how Tcgplayer does their grading. This is how they tell the sellers to look out for when they're posting cards, and a guideline for the buyers to go off of. So if a seller is saying it's near mint and there is a unacceptable range of scratching, it's probably best to look at the TCG guidelines that you can find on their website. There will be a link to their help page for this down in the description. If there are any TCG topics you'd like me to cover, please feel free to go ahead and put it down in the comments, and I'll try to make a video on it. Thank you.